Hello fellow moviegoers, and welcome to the very first review on this channel, hopefully one of many, where I look at European movies and put a little attention and light to them so that maybe you guys will check them out and see for yourselves the potential of the European cinema. And the very first movie that I want to review is The Chorus, or in its original language, Les Choristes. Now this movie was made in 2004 in France. Now is this movie the most groundbreaking movie in cinema history that you'll ever see? No. Is it a solid feels-good movie when you're just trying to be comfortable on your couch? Hell yeah, that's exactly what this movie does, but it has some very nice aspects that make it stick out to some other feels-good movies that you might think of. And I will divide the review into 4 quarters. First, we're gonna have story, second, we're gonna have characters, third, we're gonna have visuals, and fourth, we're gonna have audio. I feel like these 4 aspects are the most important aspect in movies, which is why I like to separate them and talk about them individually. So the movie starts with Clément Mathieu, an aspiring teacher, joining this boarding school for the very bad kids. I'm talking real rascals. These guys are literally like 13 and smoking. Like, that was pretty funny. Also, it's obviously meant to look like a prison. Even like the food is prison food, which I thought was quite funny. And there he meets the headmaster of the school, Rachine, who is a bit of a knobhead. Headshot. This guy pretty much treats these kids like prisoners. But early on, we notice that Clément Mathieu has a bit of a good soul, and he's defending the kids from when they would have gotten into trouble. And as a side hustle, he kind of also wants to start a chorus. Now this leads me to one of the first things I don't really like that much about the movie. There's a lot of things happening in the movie, and not a lot of the things have to do with the chorus. The chorus is kind of just like a side quest that you as the viewer have to accept is happening and is kind of going smoothly as hell. What? Which I thought was a bit unrealistic, but hey, it's a movie, so what can you do? You gotta believe sometimes. Use your imagination. And also another thing is, this movie doesn't really have a main conflict. There's no conflict where, oh, we have to sing and win the competition. It's kind of just a lot of small little hurdles that happen in the school. One of them being Clément Mathieu, the teacher, finds this absolute prodigy, Pierre Morhang, who has the voice of an angel. And I'm not talking Renaissance angels, I'm talking actual biblical angels. No, but seriously, this kid sings very well. Also, his mother is very hot. So Clément Mathieu is trying everything to get this kid to also raise his potential while simultaneously looking for that punani. Sadly, this story doesn't go anywhere. She just kind of has a coffee with him, or whatever the hell they were drinking. Wait, are they drinking absinthe in broad daylight? Okay. She just tells him that she found a guy who lives in Lyon, which is also where, you know, one of the best sort of music schools is. Clément Mathieu just got completely cocked. And another side story in this movie is that there's this kid that comes from juvie to the school so they can kind of like experiment with him or something. They're all just trying to figure out whether the school has the rehabilitation abilities that it so pronounces itself to have. This character is brought to the movie just to sort of help the story advance. Because firstly, he tells the angel voice that his mom is a whore, so the angel voice has to figure out whether his mom is a whore, which obviously she wasn't. Then the juvie boy gets suspected of stealing money, which he actually didn't do, but because they suspect him, they put him to prison. This leads to the headmaster telling Clément Mathieu he has to stop the chorus, which is why he has to do the chorus in secret. And because he has to do the chorus in secret now, one of the other teachers tells the money giver of the school that they have a chorus and that the money giver should definitely visit the school to hear them sing. And then they play an absolute banger in front of her and she's like, damn, this shit kinda good, bruh. And then towards the end, you see the school going up in flames, but Clément Mathieu was out with the kids doing some adventure stuffs, but then he still gets fired because he wasn't allowed to leave the premises of the school with the kids. and it turns out that the juvie boy was the one who burnt down the school. How did he escape the cops? We'll never know. Guy's an absolute criminal mastermind. Like, look at the guy. And then he gets fired and has to leave the premises. There's a nice little scene in the end where they throw paper airplanes outside the window where he leaves so he can read the last messages. And then right before he goes on the bus, one of the kids that he's really taken care of, Pepinot, kind of goes to him and says, "Yo bro, can I come with you?" And he's like, "Nah, fam, let's not do that." He goes in the bus, leaves, and then the bus stops, and he's like, "All right, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we're gonna do it." And that's the end of the movie. There is a lot of the chorus, but I wish it would have taken more center stage of the movie. But then again, it could have just been another School of Rock in French, and I guess they didn't really want to do that. A lot of the things is about, you know, how to raise kids, what kind of authorities were with these kids in the 50s after the war, World War II that is, because a lot of these kids were orphans because their fathers are not there. A lot of scenes you see a lot of mothers and no fathers, which I think is a very clear message to what it's trying to portray, that back in those days, kids weren't the most disciplined due to the fact that maybe there was a lack of father figures around after World War II. Just assuming. It never tells you that because it's actually acting like you are a smart person and you can figure it out yourself. So good for that movie. Next up we have the characters. I think Clément Mathieu does a very good job at portraying his role as the little tuck boy, good guy teacher. He's kind of like the nice guy. Doesn't get the girl in the end, but he does it all for the children. So you can see his heart, his intentions weren't entirely to get with the woman. It shows that he did want these children to be treated better and raised better by this school. Now we go to Angel Voice, Jean-Baptiste Monnier. Now I did my research and the kid actually sang those songs himself. It wasn't dubbed. When I saw the movie, I was looking for moments where you could tell that the lips aren't, you know, going the way they're supposed to go with the song because it was dubbed, but he actually sang those songs. So the actor himself also was an angel voice, which I thought was pretty cool because the songs absolutely slap, but we'll get to that later. The headmaster is honestly portrayed fantastically. His assholeness is just very well acted, and you do think that this guy really shouldn't be around children, and he kind of doesn't want to be around children. He even says it towards the end, but in the end he gets fired, so like, okay. Also, for some reason they established that he has like 3 daughters in the dorm, which I don't know why, but at least they gave the boys something to look at. The mother I thought was okay. She didn't really stick out or anything. She wasn't fantastic. Honestly, I really wish they did more with the juvie kid Mondaine. He was honestly, acting-wise and performance-wise, one of the stronger kids in this movie. I feel like a lot of the kids, obviously kid actors, are hard to come by. I thought he gave probably the strongest performance from the kids. It's kind of sad that his character was just kind of there to advance the plot, but all the other characters were alright. There's certain funny moments with some kids. Pepinot is kind of just there. They really have a lot of characters that they don't fully establish, which I thought was a bit of wasted potential. I don't think any of these characters are bad. Even some of the teachers that I didn't talk about were quite interesting to see, that the way they backed the main character, even though all we see from them earlier in the movie is being rude to the kids. Now to the visuals. This movie's color grading is kind of the post-World War color grade. I think this is a very well way to show it. It has the beige tone, the brown tone. But I think what makes this movie stand out is the visual presentation of the school. Pretty much the set design is on point, very good stuff. The old rundown house, the prison vibes as well, very well done. Now, there's not any standout shots except for one, which I thought was really good. It was with the burning castle. I thought that shot was pretty sick. Also featuring Mondaine just kind of being a badass. Dude, I need more Mondaine. We needed a sequel with this guy, honestly. But yeah, I think visually this movie is good. It does a lot of things right. It mostly plays in one spot, but they do well with sort of changing the seasons and the way they light the summer and the April and certain other things. And most importantly, the editing wasn't bad as well. In general, just a solid visual presentation of the movie. And now we get to the bread and butter of this movie. A movie called The Chorus is about to have some music. And I gotta tell you boys, this music slaps. Yeah, you might know the song that I just played. Well, that's because it's from this movie, and I think the original song is way better than the remix. Check out the original. You don't even have to watch this movie. Just listen to the songs, and you'll be very pleased on the ears. Every time, something in the story got kind of like boring, and I was like, what is the point of this? They got back to the chorus, like immediately. The moment you got bored, the director knew. You want more of that chorus, and let me tell you, the chorus does not disappoint. The two main ones being Vois sur ton chemin and Caresse sur l'océan. Seeing the kids sing them and being in the environment that they are in, and they have these very bombastic songs, which I still don't know how they managed to do that in like 3 months' time to perfect these songs. I guess children just are able to sing regardless of whatever. Alright, so now that I talked about all 4 aspects, I'm gonna give my final verdict of the movie with a little rating, I guess. I think the movie is a bit of a mess. It isn't really ever fleshed out to a certain degree because the movie focuses on a lot of aspects, and maybe it does lose a bit of direction because of that. That does definitely hinder the movie from being, you know, an absolute slapper, banger, 10 out of 10. But I do still think this movie is very solid. It has a good presentation of itself. The music is completely phenomenal. The humor in this movie is surprisingly good. There are a lot of scenes that you obviously don't want to be funny, but the ones where there's a little humor, I think the humor does hit. I'm a very easily pleased person with humor though, so don't take me as your main judge for that. I laugh at a lot of nonsense. I think the movie does hit the right notes, pun intended, and I think I would give it a solid 7 out of 10 because it's just a feels-good movie with very good music, with some a bit chaotic. I mean, the music puts it at a 6 out of 10 alone, and then it does everything right to gain it that 7 out of 10 above average score. And yeah, that was my first ever review on this channel. Do tell me what movies you remember from your childhood or from now that you want me to review. Give me Slovakia movies, give me Polish movies, give me Swedish, Norwegian, Swiss, German, whatever, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, whatever you can have. Any movie that you remember having a good time with from these countries, please leave them down in the comments below. I would love to check out as many of these as possible so I can give you guys as much content as possible. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe for more movie reviews, and I'll see you soon.